Hi friends, welcome to the special compilation of the adventures of Little Ryan. In this video, you'll get to enjoy Ryan's biggest stories all together, from solving the Timbits mystery to dialing 911 in an emergency to exploring secret gardens and magical worlds. You'll meet Ryan's friends, follow clues, solve mysteries, and discover surprises you've never seen before. Get comfy, grab a snack, and let's go on an adventure together. Are you ready? Let's begin. It was a quiet Saturday morning in Botown, Canada. The sky was a soft gray, and little snowflakes drifted down like feathers from the clouds. Inside a warm, cozy town home, 5-year-old Ryan was curled up on the couch, finishing his cereal while watching his favorite series on YouTube, The Adventures of Little Ryan. In the kitchen, his mom was tidying up. I'm just going to take the bin out to the garage, sweetie, she called, zipping up her jacket. Okay, mommy, Ryan replied, eyes glued to the screen. A few minutes went by, then a few more. Ryan glanced at the clock. Still no mommy. He muted the TV and listened. Silence. And then, thump! A loud, sudden crash echoed from the garage. Ryan jumped off the couch and ran to the back door. The cold air hit him as he opened it, but what he saw made him freeze. There, lying on the garage floor, was his mom. She was on her side next to the bin, which had tipped over. Her eyes were closed, and she seemed injured on her forehead. Mommy? Ryan whispered, taking a step closer. Mommy, are you okay? Her eyes fluttered open. Ryan, she said weakly, I slipped. I think I hit my head. Ryan's hand started to shake. But then something important popped into his mind. Something mom had told him before. If something ever happens to mommy or daddy and we can't move or we are hurt, you call 911. That's what it's for, sweetheart. Ryan nodded, suddenly feeling a little braver. Mommy, should I call the ambulance? She gave a faint nod. Yes, baby, please. Ryan sprinted back inside, grabbed the house phone, and with trembling fingers dialed 911. A calm voice came on the line. 911, what's your emergency? My mommy fell, Ryan said, voice shaking. She hit her head in the garage. She's bleeding. Please come. You are doing great, the woman said gently. What's your name, sweetie? Ryan. How old are you, Ryan? 5. You are very brave. Can you tell me your address? Ryan repeated the address exactly how mom had taught him. Well done, Ryan. Help is on the way. He sat down beside his mom, holding her hand gently. You're gonna be okay, mommy, he whispered. They are coming. I called them. She gave him a tiny smile and squeezed his hand. That's my boy. Then, sirens in the distance, red and white lights danced through the frosted windows. They were here. Two paramedics rushed in through the side door. One was tall and serious, the other had kind eyes and a warm smile. Are you Ryan? The kinder one asked. You made the call? Ryan nodded. That was a very brave thing you did, buddy. You did everything just right. Ryan gave a small smile and asked, how did you get here so fast? The taller paramedic knelt beside him. Well, we drive an emergency vehicle. When we get a call like yours, we turn on our sirens and flashing lights. That lets drivers know we are on a mission and they move out of the way so we can get to the person who needs help as quickly as possible. Wow, that's so cool, Ryan said. Meanwhile, the other paramedic was checking on Mom, asking her questions, shining the lights in her eyes, gently cleaning the cut on her forehead. She has a concussion, one of them said quietly. We'll need to take her to the hospital for more tests. Ryan looked up. But can't you fix her here? Aren't you doctors? The kind of paramedic smiled. We are called paramedics. We are trained to give emergency care, to stop the hurt for now and make sure it's safe to move someone. But Doctors at the hospitals have more tools to take care of the injury long term. Since it was just Ryan and his mom at home, the paramedics invited Ryan to ride along in the ambulance. Just before they left, Mom called Dad to let him know what happened and to meet them at the hospital. They wrapped Mom in a warm blanket. The taller paramedic rolled in a stretcher. Whoa, Ryan exclaimed. It's like a bed on wheels. They gently lifted Mom onto it, secured the straps, and wheeled her to the ambulance. As they drove, the sirens wailed and cars pulled over to make way. Ryan sat quietly, watching the paramedics check on Mom during the ride. At the hospital, the doctors took over. Before leaving, the paramedics knelt beside Ryan. You were so brave today, one said. You helped save your mom. They shook his hand and waved goodbye. Later that day, Dad arrived at the hospital. Mom was feeling much better, chatting with Ryan, smiling again. The doctor said she needed rest for a few days, but she'll be just fine. They all went home together, thankful Ryan had done something truly heroic. What did we learn today? We learned that even little kids can do big things. That's why every child should know how to dial 911 when it's okay to call, their home address, and that they are never too small to help someone they love. Because even a 5-year old with courage, love, and a little knowledge can save the day. So tell us, what would you do if someone you love got hurt? Leave a comment, like the video, and share this story to teach another child how to be a hero. Don't forget to subscribe for more real life lessons from Little Ryan's adventures. The Adventures of Little Ryan book series is now selling on Amazon. Click the link in the video description below or in the bio of this page to purchase, and see you next time on The Adventures of Little Ryan. Once upon a sunny morning in Canada, little Ryan was bursting with excitement. He had just heard the best news. He and his parents were finally taking a trip back home to Nigeria. His mom smiled as she zipped up their suitcase. His dad checked their passports one last time, and Ryan, gripping his red plastic magnifying glass in one hand, held his toy detective hat in the other. He could hardly sit still. It's been 5 whole years since we left, his dad said with a warm voice. I wonder how much has changed, his mom added with a hopeful smile. As the plane soared into the sky, Ryan looked out the window with big sparkling eyes. He imagined the jollof rice, the warm sun, the music, and the streets he used to hear stories about. But what they saw when they arrived, no one could have imagined. The airport in Lagos, Nigeria was enormous and shining. It was cleaner than any airport Ryan had ever seen, with glass elevators, sparkling floors, and digital screens that spoke to travelers in different languages. There were robots running around, offering directions, and a children's play area shaped like a rocket ship. Outside, the roads were smooth, wide, and tarred. Underground trains glided past beneath their feet, quiet and fast. Traffic lights worked perfectly, and drivers actually obeyed them. There were no loud horns, no traffic, just order and beauty. On every other street corner, there was a mall, tall, bright, filled with shops and cafes, and music floating through the air. Solar panels stretched across rooftops. Trash bins were placed neatly along the sidewalks, and every single one had been used. The streets were spotless. Mom whispered, Look, Ryan, Lagos is cleaner than downtown Toronto. Dad laughed. There's even free Wi Fi on the street. Can you imagine? They stayed with Grandma in a lovely home with marble tiles, steady electricity, and running water that never stopped. Every day the power stayed on. The lights didn't flicker, the fans didn't go off. No generators, no noise. The neighborhood was peaceful and quiet, with trees lining the streets and children played safely in the parks. There were no mosquitoes, no blackouts, no body trash, just calm. Ryan and his parents went out every day to explore. They didn't have to wake up at odd hours to beat traffic. They rode underground trains that moved silently and on time. And even when they used cars, the journey was fast as there was no traffic on the road. They visited libraries with touch-screen computers and robotic assistants. They even went to the local market, and Ryan's parents could not believe it. No one was dragging them by their hands and clothes and yelling, "Ah, auntie, auntie, come and buy jeans. You go like this one, oh." No one tried to grab their bags. They entered the local shops easily. Kiosks and stalls were not scattered everywhere. It was a pleasant sight to behold. Ryan's favorite moments was when they visited a beautiful school near Grandma's house. The building looked like a small university. Inside, classrooms were air conditioned with large touchscreen boards. The desks were shiny and clean. Each student had a tablet. There was a playground with a climbing wall and a small soccer pitch, and even a garden where children learned to plant and grow food. The principal, a kind woman in a bright Ankara dress, looked at Ryan and said, "Would you like to join us tomorrow?" Ryan looked up at his mom and dad with wide shining eyes. "Can we stay here forever?" he asked. His mom knelt and held his hands. "Yes, dear, we've decided. We are staying in Nigeria. You go to school here from now on." Ryan jumped with joy, hugging his mom tight. He couldn't believe it. A better Nigeria, and he was going to live in it. That night, as he fell asleep, he couldn't stop smiling. Tomorrow would be his first day at his new school in Nigeria. Then, the next morning, he felt a soft hand on his shoulder. "Ryan, wake up, sweetie. Time to get ready for school," his mom whispered. Ryan rubbed his eyes and sat up slowly. The walls were familiar. His bed, his toys, his winter jacket hanging on the door. It was his bedroom, but his bedroom in Canada. "Mommy, we are not in Nigeria?" he asked, confused. His mom smiled gently. "No, love, you were dreaming." Ryan's shoulders sank. His toy detective hat lay by his side. He looked out the window, and the snow was falling gently outside. "I really thought we were there," he said softly. Later that evening, Ryan sat by the window with his red magnifying glass in hand. He looked up at the stars, quiet and thoughtful. His dad came and sat beside him, placing a warm hand on his back. "You know," his dad said, "maybe one day that dream will come true." Ryan nodded slowly. "I believe it will," he whispered. "One day Nigeria will be that great, for real." And he smiled just a little, because even though it had only been a dream, it was one he would never forget. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Would you like to live in a Nigeria like this one day? Tell us in the comment section. And don't forget, the Adventures of Little Ryan book series is selling on Amazon. Click the link in the bio of this page or in the video description below to purchase. And we will see you next time on The Adventures of Little Ryan. On a sunny morning in their cozy townhouse, Mama had just placed a full box of fresh timbits on the kitchen counter. The sweet smell filled the home. Little Ryan was bubbling with excitement. Today was the big neighborhood picnic, and he couldn't wait to bring his favorite treats. But when Mama stepped away for just a moment, the Timbits were gone. Ryan's eyes widened. The box was empty, not even a single sprinkle left behind. Without hesitation, he grabbed his red magnifying glass and his detective hat. Detective Ryan was officially on the case. He scanned the kitchen floor carefully and spotted something. A crumb. It led out to the kitchen and down the hallway of the townhouse. Ryan followed the trail of tiny Timbits crumbs all the way to the door next door. Auntie Nkechi's place. Auntie Nkechi opened the door with a big smile. Ah, Ryan, this your wahala, she laughed. No be me, oh. Try upstairs. She handed him a small bowl of chin chin and closed the door. But Ryan noticed something near her doormat. A crumpled Timbit wrapper. Another clue. Next, Ryan headed to Uncle Tunde's place. He knocked on the door, and the smell of jollof rice filled the air. Not me, my boy, Uncle Tunde chuckled, but I did smell something sweet a few minutes ago. Ryan's eyes caught a faint trail of crumbs leading to the back window. He leaned over to look outside, and there, in the backyard, sat their neighbor's dog, Moose, with Timbit crumbs all over his snout. His tail wagged and his tongue hung out, as if to say, Oops, did I do that? Ryan ran back down the stairs, busting through the kitchen door. Mama, I found the thief, he said. Mama looked out the window and saw Moose looking very guilty and very full. Moose the dog? No wonder he was so quiet. Everyone laughed as Mama opened a second box of Timbits. Good thing I bought another box, just in case, she said with a smile. Later that day, neighbors gathered on the grassy front yard for the picnic. Ryan wore his detective hat proudly as he told everyone the story. Auntie Nkechi gave him an extra tidbit. Mama gave him a big hug, and Ryan smiled wide. He had cracked his very first case, and from that day on, whenever something went missing in the townhouse block, everyone knew who to call. Detective Ryan. What should Detective Ryan solve next? Comment below and subscribe for more adventures. The Adventures of Little Ryan book series is now selling on Amazon. Click the link in the bio of this page or in the video description below to purchase, and we will see you next time on The Adventures of Little Ryan. Ryan's old soccer ball rolled across the living room, but when he picked it up, there was a tiny silver key stuck underneath it, and for just a second, it glowed. Mom was folding laundry. Dad was reading the newspaper. Nobody noticed the key shimmer in Ryan's small hand. On the back of the key was a tiny tag that read, The Lost Garden. Only the wise and the brave may enter. Ryan's heart skipped. He looked around and spotted something strange. The hallway cupboard door, which was always locked, had a tiny glowing keyhole. Taking a deep breath, Ryan slipped the key in. Click! The cupboard swung open, but instead of dusty bones, there was a narrow tunnel lined with little fairy lights. At the entrance hung a scroll. I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have nobody, but I come alive with the wind. What am I? Ryan tipped his chin thoughtfully, just like the riddles Mob loved to give him. Then he grinned. An echo! The tunnel whooshed open instantly, a swirl of warm, sweet air pulling him inside. Ryan found himself in a magical hidden garden. Tiny houses tucked into trees, little elves in red jackets, hanging lights, brownies stirring chocolates, pixies zipping by an odd giant bumblebees. But the garden didn't feel happy. The chocolate river, their most important magic, was drying up fast. A tiny elf with a wrinkled nose and yellow boots rushed to Ryan. "You're just in time," she squeaked. "If the chocolate river dries up before sunset, the whole garden will vanish forever." Ryan's eyes widened. Moyo, his faithful purple teddy, peeked from under his arm, as if ready to help too. But just then, a grumpy brownie with wild green hair whispered, "Psst, don't listen to them. The dream fountain is empty. Try the swamp water instead." Ryan almost believed him. He almost turned away. But then he remembered Mom's words. "If something feels wrong in your heart, it probably is." Ryan shook his head bravely. He raced to the drain fountain, filled a tiny watering can, and sprinted toward the river. Every step he took, the ground sparkled under his sneakers. He splashed the drain water onto the dry river bed, and whoosh! The chocolate river came roaring back to life, swirling with creamy chocolate and shimmering sprinkles. The elves cheered. The brownies threw candy confetti into the air. Pixies zipped past, singing songs of joy. The tiny elf placed a silver soccer ball badge on Ryan's shirt. But that wasn't all. From behind her back, she handed him a tiny memory crystal. Inside it, Ryan could see himself, Mom, and Dad laughing and playing soccer together in the backyard, just like he always loved. "Family is the greatest magic," the elf whispered. Ryan blinked, and he was back in his living room. The cupboard door was closed. The silver key was gone. Moyo sat quietly on the couch, looking extra proud. But on the coffee table, under the soft glow of the lamp, lay the silver soccer badge and the sparkling memory crystal. Ryan smiled, hugged Moya close, and whispered to himself, "Maybe magic is closer than we think." If you found a secret garden, what would you wish for? It was a quiet spring night in Canada. Little Ryan had brushed his teeth, worn his socks pajamas, and climbed into bed. Mom gave him a big hug. "Good night, my little explorer," she said with a smile. But Ryan couldn't sleep. He held Moya, his favorite purple teddy, and looked out the window. That's when he saw something glowing right outside near the garden gate. He tiptoed downstairs, opened the back door, and walked into the moonlight. The gate creaked open, and behind it was a path Ryan had never seen before. At the end of the path stood a tiny person, no taller than Ryan's knee. He wore a red pointy hat, had a big belly, and held a lantern that sparkled like stars. "Ryan," the little gnome whispered, "we need your help. The garden is losing its whispers." The gnome led Ryan into a glowing garden full of talking flowers and twinkling leaves. He met a sleepy gnome who kept forgetting things, a tiny tree elf who giggled too much, and a kind mushroom lady named Mama Joa, who sang soft songs and smelled like warm bread. But the garden was too quiet. The flowers weren't whispering like they used to. The whispers only come when someone shows kindness, said Mama Joa. Ryan thought for a moment. Then he hugged Moyo and placed him gently under a dream tree. "I can sleep without him tonight," Ryan whispered. "Maybe someone else needs him more." Suddenly, the flowers lit up. The leaves began to hum. Tiny whispers danced through the garden like wind. "You did it!" The doves cheered. Mama Jua smiled. placed a warm glowing blanket over Ryan's shoulders. The next morning, Ryan woke up in his own bed. Moyo was still by his side. The garden outside looked quiet and normal again, but on his windowsill was a tiny glowing lantern made from an acorn and a note that said, "Thank you, Ryan. Come back anytime. Your gnome friends." Ryan smiled, pulled his blanket closer, and whispered, "I can't wait to dream again." It was Monday morning at school, and the classroom was unusually quiet. The kind of quiet that only comes after a big weekend. Notebooks were opened, pencils were ready, and Miss Harris stood at the front of the room, her usual cheerful self. "All right, class," she said. "Let's go around and share what we did over the weekend." Hands shut up. "I made slime with my cousin. We had pancakes on Sunday. I stayed in pajamas the whole time." Then came a louder voice from the back. "I played Roblox for like 8 hours." Everyone turned. It was Jordan. He leaned back in his chair, arms folded, like he just broken a world record. Miss Harris raised an eyebrow. "8 hours, Jordan?" He grinned. "Best weekend ever." "That's impressive, Jordan. Let's remember to take screen breaks next time," said Miss Harris. Then she looked toward the window, to the quiet boy in the blue shirt and black jeans, with his red magnifying glass clipped to his backpack. "Ryan," she said, "would you like to go next?" He stood slowly, calmly, cleared his throat. "Well," he began, "it all started in my dad's car." You see, every time little Ryan rode in the car with his dad, the same thing happened. Before the seat belts clicked, his dad would smile, scroll through his phone, tap once, and boom, the speakers exploded with rhythm. The same Afrobeat song every time. Kosi by Davo B. It was loud, catchy, proud, and Ryan, he loved it. He bounced in his seat, did shoulder shuffles, learned every lyric. Even the parts in Igbo. It wasn't just a song anymore. It was their song. One Thursday evening, his dad walked in with a mysterious grin. He dropped his keys, sat down, and said just one thing. "Want to see Double B live this weekend?" Ryan froze. "You're joking." His dad pulled out two shiny concert tickets. Ryan screamed, ran around, knocked over a pillow, jumped on the couch, screamed again. That night, he didn't sleep. The next day, Ryan entered full detective mode. YouTube became his training ground. He watched interviews, concert clips, behind the scenes footage. He found one video where Davo B explained the title of his song. "Kusi" means "be quiet" in Igbo. He said, but not in a rude way. Means "let me speak now." It's confidence. Ryan paused, wrote it down, practiced it. If Double B asked the crowd a question, Ryan would be ready. Saturday came. Downtown Toronto was alive. Flashing lights, food trucks, flags, cars dressed in Ankara prints and glow in the dark shades. The concert venue looked like a palace of sorrow. Ryan held his dad's hand, wide-eyed, buzzing. "Ryan?" Three classmates from school ran over. "You're here too?" "Row 12, same as them." The hall was packed. The music vibrated before the show even started. Then the lights dimmed. The crowd roared. Organic dancers stormed the stage. Drums, smoke, confetti. And then Davo B appeared. But just as things kicked off, chaos struck. The mic cut out. A speaker sparked. A backup dancer slipped. People gasped. Davo B raised the hand. "Calm, cool. We good?" The crowd laughs. He scanned the rows. All right, where were Niger kids at? Who can leg walk? A dozen kids rushed the stage. The beat drops, and the leg walk was a mess. Fortnite dances. One kid did the Macarena, another tried break dancing. Naomi chuckled. Ah, who brought these children here? You people didn't grow up in Nigeria? Laughter everywhere. Then he asked, who knows what Kusi really means? A pause. Ryan raised his hand. Naomi pointed. You, blue shirt, come up here. The crowd parted. Ryan climbed the stairs. On stage, under the lights, Naomi leaned in, held the mic out. So, what does Kusi mean? Ryan took a breath. It means be quiet, but not in a rude way. It means let me speak now. It's power, it's pride. The crowd erupted. Davy smiled. You came prepared. He handed Ryan a signed shirt and two VIP tickets to his next show. Ryan returned to his seat, a legend. His classmates stared like they'd just seen a superhero. You were on stage? You met Devil B? He gave you merch? They took selfies, screamed, posted him online. That night, the city glowed. Ryan leaned back in the car, smiling, holding his prize. Now, back in class, the story was done. Everyone was silent, even Miss Harris. One student blinked. Wait, that actually happened? Jordan, still at the back, groaned. I played Roblox for 8 hours. The class burst into laughter. Miss Harris cut. Thank you, Ryan. That was one amazing weekend. Ryan sat down, pulled out his notebook, and at the top of the page he wrote what I did this weekend. He filled one page, then another, then he just kept writing because some weekends you never want to forget. Thank you for watching. The Adventures of Little Ryan book series is now selling on Amazon. Click the link in the bio of this page or in the video description below to purchase, and we will see you next time on The Adventures of Little Ryan. Ryan was so excited. It was Saturday, and his mom had promised to take him to the store to buy toys and art and craft supplies. He had been saving his allowance for weeks, and today was the day he finally got to spend it. As they arrived at the store, Ryan's eyes widened at all the wonderful things he could buy. There were action figures, building blocks, coloring books, and even a brand new set of paints. I want this and this and this, Ryan said eagerly, picking up different toys. Mom smiled. Remember, Ryan, you only have the money you saved. If you spend it all today, you won't have anything left for next time. Ryan stopped and looked at his small wallet. He had saved $20. He wanted to buy so many things, but Mom's words made him think. Mom took out a small notebook and a pen. Let's make a plan. The first money saving rule is to make a budget. What's a budget? Ryan asked curiously. A budget is a plan for how you'll spend your money wisely, Mom explained. Let's write down what you really need and what you just want. Ryan thought for a moment. I really need coloring books and crayons for my art project at school, but I also want an action figure. Mom nodded. Good. Now let's check the prices. Ryan walked around the store and wrote down the prices next to each item. The coloring book cost $5, the crayons were $4, and the action figure was $12. If I buy all of this, I'll spend $21. But I only have $20, Ryan said, frowning. Mom smiled. This is where we use the second money saving tip. Compare prices and make choices. Maybe you can find a cheaper set of crayons or wait to buy the action figure next time. Ryan looked at the shelf again and found a smaller box of crayons and coloring book for $3 each instead of $4 and $5. That means he would only spend $18. I did it. I still got what I need and stayed within my budget, Ryan said proudly. Mom gave him a high five. Great job, Ryan. And here's the third tip. Save a little for later. It's always good to keep some money aside for future needs. Ryan thought for a moment and decided to put the remaining $2 back in his wallet, just in case I need something else later, he said with a smile. As he walked to the cashier, Mom hugged him. I'm proud of you, Ryan. You learned how to budget, compare prices, and save for the future. Ryan grinned. Saving money is like a game. I can't wait to save more and buy something even better next time. On the way home, Ryan and Mom talked about more ways to save money. Mom told him about discounts, coupons, and how waiting for sales could help him buy things at a lower price. Ryan was amazed at how much he could save just by being patient and looking for good deals. Can we check for sales next time before we go shopping? Ryan asked excitedly. Of course, Mom replied. That's another great money saving strategy. That evening, Ryan took out his notebook and wrote down his new goal. Save $5 more so I can buy another action figure next time. He also drew a small piggy bank next to it to remind himself to keep saving. From that day on, Ryan always planned his spending wisely, making sure to save and spend smartly, just like his mom had taught him. And every time he saved money, he felt like a superhero, making smart choices for a better future. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. And remember, the Adventures of Little Ryan book series is now selling on Amazon. Click the link in the bio of this page to purchase, and we will see you next time on The Adventures of Little Ryan. Thanks for watching, friends. I hope you enjoyed these adventures with Little Ryan. If you want more fun stories, mysteries, and surprises, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you never miss the next adventure. See you next time.